As many of you know, Jeopardy recently lost its iconic host of 30 years, Alex Trebek. For his entire run, Alex Trebek provided a unique and incredibly calming presence to viewers across the world, as well as to the show's many contestants, and his name has become synonymous with the program he hosted. His untimely passing from pancreatic cancer has left a void in the heart of millions, and it's a void the showrunners of Jeopardy have found an incredibly hard time trying to fill. Audiences have been sitting on the edge of their seats waiting for the announcement, and finally, the new Jeopardy host has been revealed. Alex Trebek's shoes definitely weren't going to be the easiest to fill, especially after his 36-year run that essentially defined the beloved game show Jeopardy for its ever-growing audience. Trebek had a wholesome and inviting presence that not only won over and comforted contestants on the show, but it also touched the lives of all the many people all over the world that would tune in routinely to watch. He wasn't only a part of the Jeopardy family, he was a part of the family of all his audience, and his death had a major impact upon both the audience and those closest to him. As with any death, though, the time eventually comes to move on, and that was going to be an incredibly tough prospect for the showrunners. Still, any job worth doing can be done, and the showrunners took their journey in strides. They had several months to choose who the replacement host would be, and they had a plethora of amazing choices to pick from. There was some interesting criteria these candidates would have to fill, though, which made the decision that much tougher. Game show hosting is a unique skill, and Alex Trebek is one of the best that has ever graced the business. It's telling that Trebek was always introduced as the host of Jeopardy and not the star, because the true stars of the show were the contestants that would come on and play each episode. Alex's job then was to be the middleman between these contestants, the audience, and the game itself. Because of this, it was important Trebek didn't try to steal the show. Instead, being a simple, calming presence that would help the contestants loosen up and be comfortable in their own skin on camera. This affability is what translated so well to the audience, and the showrunners knew this when picking a replacement. The important point was that whoever they picked couldn't be a star or someone that would try to center the show around themselves. It could be someone the audience recognized, and they'd have to have a personality that translated well to the camera, but it couldn't be someone that would eclipse the audience or the show itself. For this reason, there was a very fine line the executives in charge had to walk when making their final choice. One possible choice the showrunners were kicking around for a while was Betty White. Perhaps an equally beloved personality to Alex Trebek, Betty White rose to mass prominence in the show Golden Girls, and has since become a universal and very family-friendly icon that few people can resist. She was friends with Trebek, and certainly knows her way around the camera. However, at 98 years old, hiring Betty to take Trebek's place permanently didn't seem like much of a golden prospect, and the aging star likely wouldn't have had much interest in taking the reins at this late stage in the game. After Betty White, another person they considered was Anderson Cooper. Most popular for his work with CNN, Cooper is fairly welcoming and controversy-free, and the majority of the Jeopardy audience likely wouldn't mind getting behind this choice. It might seem like a bit of a strange choice, but the newsman certainly is no stranger to the camera or hosting. As the host of his own successful program, Anderson Cooper 360, for many years, Cooper has dealt with many guests of different calibers and, most importantly, an ever-changing audience that spans people from all ages. The 53-year-old anchor has previously been in talks as a just-in-case replacement for Trebek as early as 2014, so it's no wonder the executives seriously considered him now they're actually in need. However, it appears both the executives and Cooper have chosen a different direction. Hey, if you're enjoying this story so far, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so you can be notified when more content is on its way. Neither Betty White nor Anderson Cooper ended up being the best choices for the showrunners, so let's take a look at some of the other candidates they considered. One was Laura Coates, another CNN alum. She and Trebek were on good standing, and she was another very experienced candidate given her prior jobs. However, like White and Cooper, things didn't quite work out. The executives then considered LeVar Burton, perhaps best known as the host of another hit show, this time the seminal children's program Reading Rainbow. Burton was another perfectly experienced forerunner for the competition due to his incredibly warm and family-friendly presence, as well as his unmatched affability. The audience was certainly interested in that prospect, with Burton standing as the only potential candidate who was backed by an audience petition. However, the 63-year-old television star just didn't end up being the perfect match. Then there's Alex Faust, another prime candidate who spent many of his 31 years as a sportscaster. Once again, this is an area of expertise that can come into play in a big way when it comes to hosting a game show, as Faust is both a veteran on camera and a welcoming presence for the audience. Faust was named as a potential replacement by Trebek himself before his untimely passing, saying personally that the showrunner should consider him in the event of his passing or retirement. While this was certainly an incredibly flattering thing for Faust to hear, Things didn't quite work out. The logic makes sense though, as what Faust does is comment on games, and there's no game out there quite like Jeopardy! Tom Bergeron, a previous host of America's Funniest Home Videos, Dancing with the Stars and Hollywood Squares, was also considered. The 65-year-old TV veteran was available and perfectly experienced to take the reins, although executives in charge eventually decided to go in a different direction. Just like with Betty White, Bergeron's age made him a bit of a gamble. They didn't want to choose a replacement who was going to retire in a couple of years. All these candidates brought something unique to the table and gave the showrunners plenty of options to mull over before making their final choice. However, in the end, they decided to go in a completely different direction, choosing someone who was experienced with the beloved game show in a different way. For those who have been watching Jeopardy! Over the years, the replacement the executives ended up choosing was a familiar face, because he'd been a contestant on the show previously. Not only that, he's known as the contestant with the longest winning streak on Jeopardy! History. Not only that, he's known as the contestant with the longest winning streak on Jeopardy! In history, and is famous for being the highest winning American game show contestant of all time. This man, of course, is the legendary contestant Ken Jennings. The 46-year-old didn't get pulled right out of the blue. Jennings previously turned his winning status into his own multimedia brand, with a large social media presence and even his own book deal. More importantly, the year of Trebek's untimely death saw Jennings take on an actual role as a consulting producer on Jeopardy! And he got to try hosting some pre-recorded segments for the show. Many onlookers speculated that perhaps Jennings was being prepared for eventually filling in for Alex Trebek, and it appears they were right. Just recently, it was made official that Jennings was going to become the official replacement for Trebek, and is going to start filling his shoes incredibly soon. Jennings turned out to be the perfect choice. As both a contestant and media personality in his own right, he was the perfect medium to help bridge the gap, the unique way Trebek was known for. Unlike other celebrity candidates, he's the perfect everyman to make both the contestants and audience feel welcome with that classic Trebek spirit, while still bringing his own unique personality to the table. As of now, Jennings has only been named temporary guest host, but it's possible this is simply a label the executives are giving just in case things don't work out. As for now, we can all feel excited to watch Jennings try his hand at hosting, and we may even come to love him just as much as we loved Alex Trebek. Alex Trebek certainly has some large metaphorical shoes to fill, and hopefully Ken Jennings is able to prove himself as the icon's rightful heir. Comment down below to share your favorite Alex Trebek moment over his long career, or share with us who you think might have made an excellent replacement instead. And make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to turn on notifications so you can stay updated with all our latest content.